Most guys think game is all about persuading or convincing girls, but imagine what would happen if the girl actually believed that taking you home was her idea in the first place. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video, which is an excerpt from Inside Verbal Game Academy. What I'm about to say to you may sound crazy, but a large percentage of girls who I have met by walking up to them cold as a stranger and eventually ended up sleeping with have told me afterwards they believed they picked me up. I know that sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me, and it still sounds crazy to me every single time I hear it, but it is true, right? A lot of them will say, well, you didn't like me at first, I had to convince you. Some of them, I remember one notable case where I was actually in the bedroom, like the girl's on my bed, I move over towards her and start kissing her, and she's like, wait, do I get to have sex with you? As though it hadn't occurred to her that she would be that lucky. So it's pretty crazy to think that. It's pretty crazy when you're the one that walked over. But just because you're the one who approached does not mean you have to be the needy one. Just because you're the one who approached doesn't mean that you can't be in a position of negotiating power throughout the interaction and throughout the relationship. And what I'm really talking about here is a concept I call inception. Inception is the idea of making it feel as though the girl is chasing you, and in fact, turning it into a scenario where the girl does in fact start chasing you and continue chasing you throughout the interaction, even though you're the one who approached. And this is one of the critical components, one of the key components of advanced game. A lot of intermediate guys get results by being pushy, being try-hard, just kind of being fun enough or charismatic enough or attractive enough that the girl, even though she knows that it's not like, even though the girl knows the guy's agenda and knows that it would be a win for him and she'd be giving in, it's just enough fun that she goes with it for the enjoyment or for the experience or whatever. For advanced guys though, a lot of times the girls actually fully flip the switch and start chasing hard, start pursuing. They get it in their head, I am going to sleep with this guy, and then they will actually help you to make it happen. They'll help you with logistics. They will help you get rid of their friends. I've had situations where, I've lots of situations where girls have ditched their friends and said, no, I'm fine with them. I had one situation in particular where a girl's friends were all getting on an international flight in the morning, and she basically said, no, it's okay, I'm staying with him, I'll figure it out, go on the international flight without me. That is crazy. Even from where I'm standing, that's crazy. And why is it? It's inception. So this is a key idea I want you to have in mind throughout this entire course. And you'll notice it in the frames that I take. You'll notice it that when I state kind of who I am or the relationships I've had, the interactions I've had with girls in the past, it will imply that I'm a high value person and girls have chased me. You'll notice it when I pass shit tests. I'm not going to be like logically convincing them I'm okay. I'm going to be oftentimes assuming they gave me a compliment, assuming they are hitting on me, right? So this assumption, I have an idea in my mind of what the interaction is. They have an idea in their mind of what the interaction is on their part. If my assumption and my belief is stronger than theirs, eventually it becomes the dominant belief. It becomes the nature of the interaction, right? And again, you're putting this belief out there in subtle ways over and over and over again. And if you said the same thing over and over and over again and there's been no argument to it, eventually it's just assumed as true. And if there is argument to it, or if there is like a frame battle over it, that's completely fine too, because a girl engaging with you, giving you shit tests is a form of flirtation, and that's positive for the interaction as well. But I do want to point out this idea of an inception, because it occurs throughout all stages of game and throughout pretty much all the different levels of escalation. There is venue changing by you being like, hey, would you please go for coffee with me? And there's venue changing where you're saying like, I'd get a coffee with you, but we can't stay too long, I don't know. And she's like, no, a short's okay. And she decides to do it with you, right? There's physical escalation where you're pushing for the kiss and she's like kissing, but then she pulls away first. There's physical escalation where you lean in to kiss her and kind of pull away and she grabs you and like forces you to kiss her, right? So again, in all these elements, there is this idea, there's this degree of inception. It's something I want you to deeply keep in mind. I want you to keep in mind the idea that you are the prize, that you are offering a lot of value to the interaction, and that she is lucky if you decide that she's the right girl for you. That frame, that idea, and the way that you're going to communicate it both verbally and non-verbally throughout the interaction is absolutely critical, and it's something I want you to pay very, very close attention to throughout this course.